Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. My name is Liaquat. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. All right, so let's crack on with this. And this is Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. We are going through Hanafi Fiqh. We have reached Kitab al-Sulh, and actually, this is probably penultimate lesson. So next week is going to be the last lesson on this chapter, and then we're moving on to Kitab al-Hiba. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Say MashaAllah, guys. إذا كان الدين. So the dain is a debt. Right, so a lot of these words, again, we know them. I'm just going to be quickly going through them. Sharikain means two partners. Salaha yusalihu did that to negotiate a settlement. Nasib is a share. Thawb is a cloth. Sharik, partner. Ittaba'a, to follow up. Nisf is half. And then yadhmanu is to guarantee or to give compensation. Istawfa, it means to receive in full. And then you have sharaka yushariku, to share with someone. Yarji'ani, both go back. Ghareem is the creditor. Bilbaqi, or the debtor with bilbaqi. Ishtara is to purchase. Sil'a is the goods. Yazman, we've done that before. And then what else do we have here? Ra'sul mal, capital. Okay, right. So I think that's done this. Don't need to do anymore. All right, let's have a look at Tarkeeb then. Yeah. So إذا كان is فعل ناقص. الدين is the اسم. بين الشريكين مضاف إليه. صالح أحدهما فعل فاعل. من نصيبه جار مجرور. على ثوب جار مجرور. فشريكه is the مبتدأ. بالخيار إن شاء اتبع. So اتبع الذي عليه الدين مبتدأ خبر. بنسبه إن شاء أخذ نصف الثوب إلا أن يضمن له شريكه فعل فاعل inside that فعل. ربع الدين مضاف إليه. لو استوفى فعل فاعل. نصف نصيبه مضاف إليه من الدين. كان لشريكه أن يشاركه فيما قابض ثم يرجعان في الفاعل. الغريم بالباقي. ولو اشترى أحدهما في الفاعل بنصيبه من الدين سلعة مفعول به. كان لشريكه أن. So أن, all of that is the ism of كان. يضمنه ربع الدين إذا كان السلام بين شريكين صالح أحدهما من نصيبه على رأس المال لم يجز عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد. وقال أبو يوسف يجوز الصلح في الفاعل. Alright, so straightforward. Let's quickly get into the masail now. I want to get into the meaty bits. Okay, so let's say, for example, there's two people over here. Alright, so we're going to call them A and B. Yeah. Now, A and B, they are both owed £100 by this other fellow. Right, this other guy over here, call him Mr. Owa. So he owes the debtor. He owes them. So he owes A and he also owes B as well. So it's £100. So technically it's supposed to be 50-50 each. £50 each, £50 each. Okay, so what happens? So A decides, A says, you know what? I need my share very quick. What I'll do is, I can't get the money off him, so I will be happy to take something off him, right? So what do you have? He goes, I've got a jacket. He goes, okay, I'll give you this jacket, and then you cancel that 50. Your 50, cancel it. All right, so this is sulh, isn't it? You're doing a type of sulh. So whether it's sulh, bil-iqrar or bil-inkar or sukut, he's done this now. So what happens to his partner then? What can his partner do? Yeah. So what can either happen is either the partner now would say, fine, you keep the jacket. I'm still gonna get my 50 from the 100. I still got my 50 left. Either he can do that. That's option number one. Or option number two is what he can do is actually he can say, well, no, I actually want half of your jacket. Right. So this is option number two. So option number two is, let's give it a different color. Option number two is he says, no, I want half the jacket. Right, so 50-50, A and B both own this jacket. And then both A and B can now take 50, the rest of the 50, 25 each. So 25, 25, so that's 100 altogether. Right, so they share the jacket, and also they collect the remainder 50 and split it between themselves. So these are the two options that you have over here. Now, unless A says, right, I've taken this jacket, yeah? Okay, I will give you 25. I will give you 25. So because I've taken this, I will give you 25. So he gives him 25. Right, so 25 is given to him as dhaman. Make sense? So he says, إذا كان الدين, when debt is £100, is between two partners, A and B, فصالح أحدهما, so one of them has done sulh من نصيبه, of his share, على ثوب, upon a thawb, فشريكه بالخيار, his partner, which is B, has a choice. إن شاء اتبع, if he wants, he can follow الذي عليه الدين, the guy who owes, the one upon whose the debt, بنصفه, with his half, his share. So his share was 50, wasn't it? So you can say, well, you know what, I'm just going to take my 50, that's fine. وإن شاء, and if he wishes, أخذ النصف الثوب, because he has rights in that thawb, because technically in that £100 they haven't split it together. They take the money, then they split it, isn't it? So A has taken this thawb without B's permission. So B technically has share to half of it. Half of it's his. So he takes half, right? Now, obviously, if he takes half, that means the money that's remaining with the ower, which is 50, that's 25 then. Right? So because A's got half the jacket, which is equal 25, and B's got half the jacket, 25, and then there's 50 left, so 25 split. إلا, unless يضمن له شريكه, unless the sharik A says, you know what, I guarantee you your 25. Yeah, your ruba' ad-daini, quarter of the debt, I guarantee. If you don't get it, I'll give you it. So you can take the 25 off him. Does that make sense? So this is basically how the option is. All right, so normally this is a bit of a tough masala, but alhamdulillah, you guys have understood it. Let me know in the comments as well. All right, next. Now, so this is the first scenario. Second scenario now. Let's say, for example, let's say A gets, and this is obviously, let's do it over here, A and B. A gets his 50. He collects it from O. So now B is left, isn't he? Now, because A has taken that 50, and that 50, everything that one of the partner takes from the ower, the other guy owns half of it. It's a bit funny, isn't it? So technically, like if he takes £10, if A takes £10, then that means B can take from their half of it, yeah, which is £5. And if A takes £20, he can take half of it. And if he takes £30, he can take half of it. So each person has the right to half of whatever the other person takes. Does that make sense? Okay. So he says, Lo istawfa. So he says, if one of the two partners has received in full half of nasibihi min ad-daini. Yeah. Half of his share. Yeah. Okay. Half of his share, isn't it? Then half of his share would be 25 then. Let's change that 25. Let's say this is 25. Nisfa nasibi. Right, so he's received half of his share, 25. Min ad-daini, on the debt. Kana li sharikihi, the sharik B has the right, and yusharikuhu fima qabada. So this 25 that he has, he actually can share it with him, which means he's going to get 12.5 and he'll get 12.5 from that. Right? He has the legal right to that. Fima qabada, whatever he has. ثم يرجعان على الغريم بالباقي, and then they go back to the gharim and claim the remainder from him. So if he's taken 25, there's 75 left. They can claim the rest. Does that make sense? So remember this, whatever one partner takes, the other partner has the right to have half of that. Okay, so this is just the rule. That's how it works. Okay, now what if one of the two partners here, so we've got this masala over here where he's owed 100. One of the two partners buys, lo ishtara ahaduhuma, one of the two partners. So let's say A, for example, decides to buy with his share, which is 50, right? So he's owed 50, like over here. he decides to buy with his share min ad-dayn sil'atan, some goods like a laptop or a car. Kana li sharikihi, then the sharik has the right. So B in this case has the right. And yadhmanahu ruba ad-dayni, to guarantee him a quarter of the debt. So what does that exactly mean there? 1 second, let me just zoom this in. Sorry, this should actually be yudhamminahu, okay, because then otherwise it's not going to make sense. You'll see why. So yudhammina yudhamminu. He can make him liable. All right, that's what it means. So let me just draw this out again. So let's say A and B. Okay. So A decides, you know, that 50 that he owes me. What I will do is I will buy from him, let's say he's got a shop. I will buy from him a laptop that costs £50. So a laptop worth 50, he's taken that from him and said, you know what, cancel that from the debt. So now B, because A has gone and spent half the money without B's permission, B now has the right to go and make A liable half of that. So then therefore he would have to pay him. He would have to say, right, okay, I want half that value. So how much is half? £25. So he's got to give him £25. Does that make sense? So let me say again. لو اشترى أحدهما, if one of the two, like A, was to purchase بنصيبه, his share of 50 of the debt, سلعة, and some goods like a laptop, كان لشريكه, then the partner B has the right and يضمنه ربع الدين, to make him liable, to make A liable to quarter. Why a quarter of the debt? Because remember, he owes half and he owes half, he owns half. So therefore, whatever A has taken, half of that is automatically going to belong to B. Yeah, so half of that's going to belong to B. All right, so this is basically what happens over here. Now, okay, so this is going to be different from, he won't be able to take half the laptop in this case, because this is a case of purchasing. So because purchasing has taken place, he doesn't have that right. Okay, so last masala. All right, what is the last masala? The last masala is to do with something called salam. Remember salam? We did this a long time ago. Yeah, hope you guys still remember the days of salam. So remember, salam is basically, let's say there is a guy, and this guy, he is an apple farmer. Right? So he grows apples, and someone wants to order the apples. So let's say two people want to order apples. Right? So you got two people, one is called A, one is called B. And so they put in an order for apples. So let's say the order is going to be, they want the apples. So this is January, and they want the apples in, I don't know, May. Right? So in May, they want apples. Right? So that was the date where he's going to provide the apples. They want, let's say, 100 kg of apples. 100 kg of apples. And they're willing to give for it £50. Okay, £50 for the apples itself. £50 for the apple. So that's basically 25 from him and 25 from him. So they put the order forward, they've given the money. Now what's happened is, halfway through this period, let's say for example over here, one of them, let's say B, decides, you know what, I want to do sulh. So the apples that I'm owed, I want money for it. The apples I'm owed, I want money for it. Okay, so he says, إذا كان السلم, it's the forward sale, so this is called a forward sale, salam, is between two partners. Right, so this guy and this guy, they've decided to give 50, the Ratsul Mal, the capital is 50. فصالح, so one of the two, let's say B in this case, right, he's the one, he decided to speak with the farmer, and he wanted sul of his share, ala Ratsul Mal, upon Ratsul Mal. So he's saying, you know, my share of the apples is 50 kilos of apples I'm owed. Instead of that, I just want £25. Abu Hanifa says, Lam yajuz inda Abi Hanifa wa Muhammad. Imam Abu Hanifa and Muhammad say, this is not allowed. You are not allowed to do this. You cannot take, once the contract is done, you can't, go and do a sulh with that. Whereas Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, qala Abu Yusuf, yajuzu sulh. Sulh is considered to be jaiz over here. Just like sulh was jaiz in the other scenarios, why is it not jaiz over here? So this is the difference between the two. Now what's going to happen over here, in reality, it's going to be similar to what we talked about in the first case with the, like the guy who did the sulh with the clothing. So Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, Abu Hanifa and Muhammad, they actually say it's pending on the permission of A. If he allows, so does he allow this sort of negotiation to go through or not? Yes or no? If he allows it to go through, then it's fine. He takes that. If he doesn't allow it to go through, then it doesn't go through. Right? And Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, he says that yes, it does go through. And if it does go through, then BA will have a share in that 25 pounds. Right? He'll have a share in that. So therefore he can take, so it's 12.5 he'll take and 12.5 he will take. Right? So they'll split that half, and then the remainder 50 kilos. Remember, there's 50 kilos and 50 kilos. So 50 kilos sulh has been done, right? And then there's 50 kilos left over here. This remainder 50 kilos, this is the one they split between themselves. So they split the money, 12 and a half, and they've also split the apples, 50 kilos of apples between each other. Right? So that's basically how they will do that, inshallah. And that's it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a bit of a tough lesson. It's probably one of the hardest places in Qudoori generally for students when they're trying to understand, because it's like it contains masail which they're not used to really. But the point to understand from all of this is if you ever have partners involved in sulh, each partner has the same right as the other partner, and they can't do anything without the other one's permission. Okay, so questions for you guys. If a guy owes two people money and one of them decides the amount that he's owed, he wants to negotiate by receiving something else as non-currency. Does that go through? He said, yes, it goes through. But then what happens? So it's two options. Either the other partner B, he can either take he can either decide that he's going to take the rest of his money. So whatever money he was owed, he's going to go and take that and leave the coat with him. Or he can decide that he wants the rest of the coat. Yeah, so the rest of the coat he's going to get. And then they're going to split the rest of the money in half. So they become half owners of the coat, and they've also become half owners of the remainder 50. Yeah, 25 each. Okay, unless A decides that he's going to give B 25 from his pocket. Right, so he's gonna compensate him for the 25. Then the whole jacket belongs to A. Okay, what if something similar like this happens, but this time the A goes and he says that he wants to receive half of his money from so he's received half of it. What's going to happen? So again, the other person is going to have the right in the other half. Yeah. So 25 he takes from the 50, 12 and a half to him, and 12 and a half to him, and the remainder 75 they both share remainder. Okay, what if A decides to buy a laptop with his share? So what's going to happen there? So again, over here, the other person is going to be a sharik. The other person is not going to be a sharik in the laptop, but he will make him compensate for that. So he can take 25 from his pocket. Okay, finally, the last masla. What if in a salam masla this happens? Two people, they go and they decide to buy for 50 pounds, 100 kilos of apples. Later in the year, one of them decides he doesn't want the apples anymore. He wants money for it instead. He wants to negotiate money for it instead. Is that okay? Abu Hanifa and Muhammad say no. Abu Yusuf say yes. Khalas. Jazakumullah khair. I hope you guys understood this lesson. May Allah bless all of you people. Keep you happy. If you guys want to do a favor for me, please share my videos with others. And also become a patron if you like. Patrons can help my channel to grow. And it means a lot to me as well. And it's a sadaqah jariyah. Jazakumullah khair. Description has all the details. And on the screen now you can see this Patreon button. You press that and you can go to the Patreon, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.